Hello, it is Tara Boothby from Sojourn Psychology, and today I'm going to talk about forgiveness, repair, and reconciliation. I really want to just get into these topics and try to give you guys some compact, good nuggets to savor and think on. And I'm really coming from my book. Let's see, there it is, Love and Love's Energy. I love it. And I'm going to share a few pieces of what I've written and just drawing on the chapters and breaking them down further. So when we talk about forgiveness, what are some of the risks of getting forgiveness wrong? We know it's important. It's one of those buzzwords that just does not go away. However, one of the themes of erred thought that we have about forgiveness is when we really notice forgiveness as a responsibleness, some sort of responsibility on my part or on someone else's part. And if I'm doing that responsibleness right, that I'm going to be better at forgiveness. Viewing forgiveness in terms of responsibility really gets us into a transactional relationship with forgiveness and with other people. When relationships become transactional, solely transactional, then the being with the love energy experience is hindered and actually neglected to the point where it might not even be there. So forgiveness, what are some of the faulty thoughts that we have? I break this down further in the book, but one of the things is that forgiveness really helps me. So many times people say this, that I'm forgiving the other person for my own benefit. It can be a way of minimizing our experience, minimizing the pain, moving too quickly past whatever's happened. I'm just going to forgive for me. Poof. Becomes a formula. And the living, breathing experience of forgiveness suffers. Another thought that we can have is that forgiveness or forgiving and forgetting go together. This is also really risky for our psyche, for our inner self, for our experience in the world as well, how we impact the world or are impacted by the world. Forgiving and forgetting is really something that in the psychology world we call compartmentalizing. I, again, try to do some sort of magical formula to forgive. Poof, and I forget. That's a dangerous psychological experience. We don't get to forget our past. Our past is alive and vibrant and a part of who we are. We're flawed and fabulous. All of our parts are included. My parts that I forgive about me, my parts that maybe somebody else doesn't forgive, my parts that are hurt by somebody else, all those parts are included in who I am. I'm not going to get rid of them. They're included just as much as what I admire and love and the things that are easier for me to appreciate about me. Another thing that we can fall into with forgiveness, albeit most people try really hard not to do this, but many, many times forgiveness actually becomes an experience of judge and jury or a court situation, that it becomes this formula, let's find the right process where one confesses and one forgives and give me the exact right confessional. Sometimes even people will prescribe words. These are the words you have to say, and then forgiveness happens. Now, all of these are faulty. All of these run the risk of actually pulling us out of forgiveness. Forgiveness is an experiential process. Now I'm going to read what I write here. This is on page 187 in Love and Love's Energy. Forgiveness done in haste or formula does not taste sweet. It does not nourish. It cannot be savored. Forgiveness is not a quick fix. It is layered. It does not mean you spill your guts and leave it all behind, nor does forgiveness erase a thing. Our flaws, forgiveness does not make to disappear. I love that line. Our flaws, forgiveness does not make to disappear. Forgiveness is not magic. It's not a one and done, especially not with the big stuff, the mind-bending stuff. So I really hope that when we think of forgiveness, we can start to see that this is an experience. It's a layered moving in and moving out and navigating with ourselves and with others. Now, forgiveness isn't the end of the story. That's where we move into repair. And repair is just like such a lovely attachment word. There's many ways that we'll talk about it in different schools of thought with attachment science and parenting and marriage, relationships, family therapy. Repair is beautiful. So first I'm going to start with what I say on page 193. Make sure I'm right. 192. Okay, here we go. So talking about being out of relationship. In between forgiveness and repair, we protest distance in our relationship. Because somewhere inside of each one of us, we all know we are worthy of repair in our relationships. Somewhere inside of us, we all instinctively know we are loved, we are lovable, and we are loving. It is in our nature to love, and it is in our nature to mourn the loss of any love that is left in disrepair. I will say this, and I thoroughly believe this. I can't imagine giving up this belief that it is always natural to be out of relationship. And even the relationships that have been terrible for me, and I still can't figure out a way to have ended those relationships well. It's unnatural, and I continue to grieve the losses of even the bad stuff in my relationships, because I hold such space to know that it's always unnatural, it's uncomfortable, and it's painful, it's mournful to be out of relationship, even when our human relationships aren't going to work, and some aren't. And there are people that I'm out of relationship with. So I like to honor that and say that to people, because I'm a love person, and I hope that somebody hears that and it offers a bit of gentle reassurance that it's okay, that we don't always find our footing and find our way back in with other people. Now, the best definition of repair comes from the Circle of Security folk, who define repair as, I am here, I know you need me, and we are going to work this out. So repair is really this reciprocal experience. Now, it depends on the relationship. So sometimes with a parent is that I, as mommy, am here, and I know you, as my child, need me, and I am going to ensure that we work this out. I am the one. So in a hierarchical relationship, ideally, it is the person in authority's position to figure out repair. Doesn't always work. Parenting, it's much more important. I think as a boss, there's relationships I've had where I couldn't figure out how to do repair. I didn't know how to be there for somebody. I didn't know how to say, we will work this out. And I didn't know how to feel needed. It's complicated when we look at some of these other relationships. Now, the other place to see this is the reciprocalness of, I am here, I know you need me, and we're going to work this out. And Ruth Graham-Bell will say that a marriage is made up of two good forgivers. That's a real reciprocal view, that in a trusting relationship, an adult relationship, we find our footing where I am saying that I am here, and I'm seeing that other person saying that they're there for me. And we're both agreeing that we are going to work this out and that we need each other. So I can agree to need you, I can agree to be needed by you, and I can agree that we both see that we can work this out, and we'll work together to work this out. So repair is this real beautiful thing. And as our children age or as relationships mature, some of the hierarchy always adjusts. The angle and the pressure on the key person shifts. And it's something to be mindful of. Repair is going to feel different in different relationships, depending on those types of relationships. And sometimes it's not going to be possible. Sometimes forgiveness is not going to be the fluid process and the experience that we need to move into a space for repair, where forgiveness, or the words that endure to offer and shed light on forgiveness, those words happen in a repair setting. Sometimes we never get to that place. And that's where I venture into this idea of understanding reconciliation. Now, with reconciliation, it's really something to take much time to meditate on and to consider what it is. Reconciliation is a relational promise, and it hinges on a belief that relationship will move forward into future. Forgiveness, repair, reconciliation, and amends are not tools for drama, and they're not to create a production. They're not something that we want to do on stage and make it this big old whatever it is, because then it's not really a true experience. It's transactional, it's being responsible, it's showy. There's a sincere move into reconciliation. What I just want to do is I'm going to take 90 seconds and read this whole contemplation. It starts on page 197. So at the heart of reconciliation is always love, or it is not. Reconciliation happens within relationships where the past is acknowledged, where there is a shared agreement for hope and a future, or it is not. Reconciliation is not bound to a timeline because it has no predicted sequence. It does not happen all at once. It is deeply personal and always unique, always loving, and it is always to be held with gentleness and curiosity. It is alive. It needs breath. It needs to be nurtured. It heals. It helps. It hopes. Reconciliation restores what we believe to be lost. It prophesies we all belong. It honors everyone's value for no other reason than the reason that everyone exists. Everyone exists, and everyone belongs. Reconciliation restores our belief in love. Reconciliation draws us further and further into the mystery of love. It leads us to question the meaning of life and the vastness of love energy. It asks us to question the influence love's energy has over our ever existence. By it, we are transformed, changed forever. We awaken to a new way of being with each step we take toward new life, new love, new hope, renewed awe. Reconciliation knows that the mystery of relationships needs continual revisiting, revising, and refreshing. Reconciliation is hearing with loving ears, seeing with loving eyes, and knowing with a loving mind. Without expiration. Without expiration. I think that's an important note. Reconciliation beckons us to know we are loved, lovable, and loving, inasmuch as it is a revelation that every one of us is loved, lovable, and loving, that everyone is reconciled to the same heart of love as everyone else. Reconciliation convinces us we are all included, with no agenda, with no urgency, no greatness or folly, no gender or race, no trauma, no hate. Not one thing is beyond reconciliation. Each one of us is deserving to be reconciled to ourselves, to each other, and to humanity, and to Creator God. Give reconciliation time. Give it emotionally safe space to age with oneself, with each other, with our Creator, until there is no other. Reconciliation is the heartbeat of the Creator resounding through the very one of us and the every one of us. So I don't want to add anything to that. I hope that you can hold some space to let these words wash over you, this contemplation on reconciliation. Peace and love as you continue to move forward in your perfectly imperfect life. And you are so loved, and you are so lovable, and you are loving.